Hello, everyone. This is Mike Ronchetti, and I'm excited to have a fellow business owner from Indiana with us today. My guest has a fascinating and exciting background in creating audio and video content for the business marketing world. It's my pleasure to welcome Michael Yoder with Truth Work Media to the
Nailed
show.
it.
Thanks. With the show today. Hello, Michael.
Hey, Mike, how you doing, man?
Beautiful. It's a beautiful day outside, and I'm enjoying it.
Little
Uh,
warm.
you have to understand, clients, our listeners, we're in Indiana, which could be warm or hot, depends on the day, it seems like.
Depends on the
So,
hour, really.
very good, very good point. So let's do this. Let's start with introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about your personal story, where you're born, where you're living now, where you maybe lived, is your family, your hobbies, whatever you want to talk about. Also, if you've got a funny story, so throw it in.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here. A little bit about my background. I am from a small town of Bern, Indiana. When I was growing up, there was one, two stoplights. Now I think it's up to three, which is big time. And we about 6,000 people. I graduated with 65 in my high school, and in college, I moved up to the big city of Mishawaka, South Bend, Indiana, and did undergrad here and moved away and came back up and started post grad work working at the university. I had my master's in theology. And so I was going that route. I had thought about doing a doctorate. I was working in youth ministry, biblical studies, those types of things. And so that was my trajectory. And through that process, I was being challenged by some friends. I started a podcast with a doctor at the school,
Mm.
and more people started coming up to me and saying, "Hey, I see you started doing this. How do I do this?" And I am ambitious enough and maybe a little bit dumb enough to think I'm going to quit my job with no active clients and launch a podcast business. And so 8+ years ago now, that's what I did. Is I quit my job and with no clients and launched a podcast business. And I thought, okay, what do I do? I don't have any clients. I don't know how to run a business. My background's not even close to that. I better get a website. And so I remember I went down the Chicory Cafe and learned how to start building websites, built myself a website, and the rest is kind of history. That was 8+ years ago. I went from just working with me to now we have a team of a half a dozen of us. And it's been a wild ride.
You're smiling now. That's good.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome. I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's great. Building something that's one of my favorite words is poesis. It means to make something from nothing. And it's what I think entrepreneurship is in general, is just like that idea that you can envision something and then go out and do it and create it. It really is a special thing.
Wow, fantastic explanation of where you came from and how you're currently here. We'll get into some of those side roads maybe in a second here, but tell me a
Sure.
bit about your company name. How did you come about that? I mean,
That's a great question. So the idea is well, I know you're not supposed to talk like politics and like about God and when you first meet some people. So this not meant to rub anyone anyway, but it's just the idea that truth by itself can be wielded in ways that aren't necessarily helpful, or they could be. But when that's paired alongside of work, you can kind of see the fruits of where that's supposed to be, and that's kind of where that came together, is that meshing of like, how do we incorporate truth of what people are saying and incorporate the work that they're doing and then expand that message. So the idea that the company was built on is, how do we amplify the messages of people that don't necessarily have a microphone or an amplification process built in? That's where we started. And that kind of just morphed into, well, how do we give everyone that would like one a microphone? So businesses, B2B, SaaS companies. We started a lot with nonprofits and individuals, and then we kind of just to be completely honest, nonprofits don't have a lot of money, so that's hard to make money doing that. And so that's kind of where we branched off.
got it, got it. Well, for everyone listening, check out the company in the link in the description below. Make some comments on your LinkedIn that you watched the interview. We appreciate that. So that was my little paid advertising.
I love it.
Now, let's talk about a little bit about your path forward again. Revisiting that, share a story where someone pushed or inspired you that you could do it, and the impact that had.
Yeah, so this is kind of an easy one. My buddy Joel Runyon runs Impossible HQ, and he's been instrumental really from the get-go into pushing me to do things that I didn't think were possible or that I'd never even processed. He's an incredible person. I probably don't tell him that enough. And he's done things that I never thought possible. He was run an ultra marathon in every continent to build 7 schools. So he's built 7 schools, helped raise money for 7 schools by running 7 ultra marathons. It was a 777 project. He was the first person that I graduated with that really said, "Hey, you don't have to go the traditional route. You can do something different. You can build your own company. It's not that hard. Just do it." And he would push me, "Hey, have you quit your job yet? Hey, have you put in your resignation yet?" "No, I haven't. No, I haven't." And it was just through that process of surrounding myself with him and then other like-minded people that really pushed me over the cliff, if you will. So I gotta give flowers to Joel. And you should check him out. Your listeners should check him out. He's wonderful.
Uh, and again, it was the name of the company was Impossible HQ.
Yeah, that's correct. Joel Runyon.
Oh, Runyon. Got it. Thank you. Um, what's your biggest learning as a business owner? Then he sounded like he it was inspiring you to learn. What'd you learn? What's the takeaway or two?
My biggest learning, there's so many, right? It's a daily it's a daily thing. It's probably the biggest thing is it's not as hard as you would think, and it's also not as easy as you would think. And that's from running finances, that's from creating offers. What does your business actually do? Well, you got to put that together. That's from dealing now that I've shifted into having a team. How do I be a good boss? What does that look like? And so, like, th- that I think can kind of scare people away from starting, but it shouldn't. It's not that hard. So what Joel has taught me and what he taught me from the get-go is it's not going to be easy, but you can do it scared. And so my wife and I say that often is, yeah, just do it scared. You're going to learn, you're going to get better. You're probably going to suck and fail a couple times, several times. But at the end of the day, and that's kind of what I want to build my company on, is if we're trusting and caring for the people that we're working with and that are working for us, it's going to take care of itself. And so that's kind of one of the bigger things I've learned is just treating people well. And I would say that's probably been our biggest benefit with my background in theology is learning how people work and why they work and how they interact with people. We were talking before this, there's plenty of people offering the same services we do. And that's great. I think competition's wonderful. At the end of the day, what's different with our team, as I would like to think with others, is anyone can have the technical ability to edit shows. That's fine. What everyone does not possess, though, is the ability to have a conversation with someone that you can see them for who they are and you can treat them as fully human. I think that's something we do offer that's a little bit unique and different.
Wow, yeah, there's a whole bit about obviously unique selling proposition as well as unique value proposition as well as differentiation as well as your superpowers. I mean, it sounds like
Sure.
you draw on all those to make sure your business stands out from anybody else's, as well as your, like you said, you're competitive, and it comes down to personalities, and it sounds like you got a
Yeah.
great personality. So nice. I'm going to jump ahead on another question because you kind of answered my one about the challenges of being a business owner. Also teamed up the fact that how do you, a fellow business owner. Is there anybody else who is right nearby, fellow business owner, other than Joel, who you call out and say, "Hey, that person helped me get over the immediate hump or two"?
I wouldn't say necessarily a media hump, but for
Immediate.
those that don't know, South Bend is an incredible place to start a business. I am brushing shoulders every day with people that are in business, whether they are a lot further ahead than me or they're just starting. And you have the unique ability to just surround yourself with people that are doing it at such a high clip. And
Mhm.
so I get I remember, you know, Ryan Biggs, who had a company that doesn't necessarily exist anymore, he did funding. So I got to walk alongside of him and see, oh, he went a different route than I did. They went through the funding route. What does that look like? And another friends, Steve Smith, Jeff Myers, Robbie, and the box out group, they they are, in the process of, working on selling their business. So what does that look like? How do you get an evaluation? All those types of things. And so, yeah, I could just go on and on and on. And it's, to me, and I truly believe this, you hear this all the time, you become who you surround yourself with. And I want to do that in business, and I want to do that in life. So I just became a father 15 months ago for the first time ever. It's been,
Congratulations.
thank you. It's been crazy, but in a good way. That you will never realize how selfish you are until you have a kid. That, at least for me, that is what I found out. Um, but so how do I become a good father? I watch people that are good fathers, and I be around people that are good fathers. And the same with business. How do I become someone that's good at business? Is I want to be around and model what my friends that are good at business are doing.
Wow, you kind of are filling in my questions as I go along. So
Well, I'm sorry about that, Mike.
oh no, not at all. It's beautiful. No, it's beautiful that you got the right spirit of what today's adventure is, or this conversation is that because we oftentimes look at the fact that I'll be talking about Jim Rome, who does
Sure.
talk about 5 people you know type of thing, but in the second here is a situation where asking you to look at 3 people and your as your journey has happened, whether it be local or national people, clients, whatever, and on that journey process of why you're most grateful for their business and their involvement, but also who are they and how they helped in some ways. Maybe they took you into a pivot on your career as far as your work that you're doing now. Just is there 2 or 3 people that kind of stuck out? Obviously, you talked about Joel, so maybe he's number one.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we'll go a different route. I'll go one of my clients, our first
right.
client, Dr. Amber Selking, who was the performance coach for Brian Kelly at Notre Dame, and now she's down at LSU. We've done 12 seasons of shows together, and she was client number one with me, and she's been with me for 9 years now. And she has a level of quality that she pushes us to that is unlike any of our clients. And sometimes I'm like, Amber, just take it down a notch. But it makes us all better. And I love working with her because of that. There is no, hey, well, we're gonna let off the gas a little bit. It's go all the time. And when you get to work alongside of people like that, your standards for what is great just increase. And so, like, I am just forever thankful for her and just taking a chance on me, as zero client guy, nothing to show for our work. Here's what we can do for you. Let's go on a ride. And I like to think working together has brought us both success, because when we were starting, she wasn't the coach for Notre Dame football or now LSU. She was just getting started. And to see and watch her grow from zero podcast downloads to hundreds and hundreds of thousands, and watch her work with NFL teams, and it's just been awesome to see our trajectory kind of grow together. Her doing national public speaking events and TED Talks. And I like to say, hey, Amber, the podcast, that's exactly why you are where you are. And it's not. She's amazing. She's a
Yeah.
genius. And but I'd like to think, we've made each other better in that regard. But she, I know for a fact, has made us better as a team.
Yes, yes. I have her book, and we've attended a couple of our team's workshops, and we know exactly her reputation as well as
That's
her skills.
awesome.
I'm just so proud that you have had the opportunity to be collaborating with her as well as enhancing her ability. Because it's one thing to have the words, another thing to have the microphone and megaphone.
Absolutely.
And you're providing that fine tuning of the words, I'm sure. So
The
fantastic.
Yeah, we actually got connected because her husband and I played football against each other in high school. And so I was in their wedding, and I've known Aaron almost my entire life. And yeah, so it's been a fun journey.
Oh wow, wow. So kind of switching from the past and the present to a little bit more future focused. As you think about the next 1 to 3 years, what's your number one point of growth or challenge to achieve your goals? And again, goals could be beyond your current company. You can have 5 companies, you can have 50 companies if you want,
Yeah.
or just no companies and you doing something else. Just what are you thinking you're going to go at?
It's a great question, Mike. That's probably something I should be thinking about more on a daily or at least monthly basis. I would love to get to a place personally where I have enough passive income where I don't have to worry about day-to-day operations. And so right now where I am in my company is that's just not quite the reality yet. And that's okay. I'm 37, 36, 37. You lose track of age around my age. I'm starting to realize. Um,
That and an 18-year-old baby, 18-month-old baby, 18-month-old
yeah,
baby.
time is just non-existent right now. Um, So I think down the road, I would love to continue to invest in more real estate, but I'd love to see like this business grow and flourish to a place. And we talked about this a little bit where we're in a position that we can be acquired or take this, to the next level. I think right now is the easiest time in the world to create content, easiest time ever in the history of the world. So if you're not doing that, we can come alongside and help do that. So I think in the next 3 to 5 years, it's gonna continue to get easier and easier, and so we're gonna have to find ways to differentiate ourselves from just turning on your webcam like we're doing here and creating, YouTube videos and podcasts because it's truly not that hard, but what's gonna separate, good from great? And then we have to figure that out and dive into that, especially with AI and ChatGTP. They're right now, they're tools that we are using, but it's not going to be very long until the public's like, oh, we can use this. You're having right now the show's being transcribed by AI. So like we're going to have transcripts, I think, as soon as this is done. That used to be a service you had to pay good money for. So
Yes.
um, to answer your question, I, I don't know quite yet, but I do know this. I know that one of the things you talk about superpowers. uh, I'm not good at a lot of things. And I know that one of the things that I'm decent at is seeing where tech and the future is going and leaning into that. So I'm not quite sure where it's pivoting just yet, but I know that we will be on the front edge of that because that's really my job at the moment.
That's incredibly insightful. Even where you're saying you're not sure, but you know what you can bring to the party. In this case,
Sure.
you know what talents you right now have instinctively, as well as got you where you are in the last 8 years, from client zero to client many, and
Yeah.
and so many squared probably. But a situation where that's fantastic. Uh, so Jim Rome, and I mentioned that name earlier. He's basically in our world, my world, business coaching. He's a legend.
Yeah.
He's recognized as a very strong writer, very strong leader, very strong speaker. He passed away the last couple of years, and it's unfortunate. But he basically left a real strong imprint on a lot of people, including the phrase that we become the average of 5 people we
Hmm.
spend the most time with. And that's a kind of a thought-provoking question. As you think about this, what advice do you have for business owners who are trying to do it on their own now?
Wow. Uh, keep going. That
All I'm saying is
like
that oftentimes 5 people. Oh, I'm sorry.
sure.
I interrupted your chain. I'm sorry.
Well,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
I am privileged to have a team. So let me start with that. If you're a business owner and you are doing it alone, good job. Like, congrats. Like, you're doing the thing. That is something to be so proud of. I was watching an interview with Seth Rogen, and he said this line that I love, and I've repeated this on another show, but he said something like the difference between the actors that he's seen make it and not make it is that they didn't give up. He said, if you give up, you most certainly will not make it. But if you don't give up, you might make it. And I think that, like, to the business owner going at it alone, just keep going. Like, just keep going. And then when get the right people around you. Like, get people on the bus that are supposed to be on the bus. And that's a cliche business thing, but it's so true. Surround yourself with people that are doing it better than you are, and don't be the smartest person in the room. Another cliche saying, but like, don't be. I am constantly, hopefully, one of the dumbest people in the room, but I know enough to be that. And so just surround yourself with people that are doing business well. Go the networking events, go the business events, go watch people, ask to shadow them, and just surround yourself with just brilliant people. And then eventually, hopefully, you can continue to be a brilliant people. And then I would say hire the right people. Be be slow to hire, quick to fire, and just do it. If something's not working out, get rid of them in a graceful way. Try to bring them alongside, but if it's not going to work, you're doing yourselves both a discredit, I think, from stringing that relationship along. And at the same time, if you have people that are great, tell them they're great and remind them they're great and do everything you can to keep them with you. And that everyone that's been on our team has been there a long time, and I could not be where I am without my team. Like I can't say that enough. I cannot say that enough. My team is amazing, and I hope they're with me forever. I know they won't be, but I want them to live the lives they want to live. So we're constantly having the conversation. Hey, what do you want to do next? How can I help you get there? I don't think you want to be editing podcasts the rest of your life. That's cool. What do you want to do? What steps can I take to help you get there? And so, yeah, I would say just surround yourself with people that are awesome, and it's going to change your life.
That's that, and the way you phrased it was just right on in my mind because you speak some of the same visualizations and word poems that I believe have to be heard and repeated. And as an owner by yourself, you oftentimes just talk to yourself, and
Sure.
and nowadays we've got the opportunity to talk, listen to others, but it's that dialogue between
Yeah.
others. That's the key. And your podcasts are close as can to getting a friend talking to you, but then take that one step further and try to many podcasters will reach out and talk to people directly and all that, and there's obviously services. But I agree with you. If you can find three or four people of like mind and even team members, try to embrace that growth opportunity with them, and that's awesome. So thank you on that.
Yeah, I mean, asking people to go get coffee is free. So you can I don't know the last time I've been turned down to go get coffee with someone. So if you see someone doing something awesome that you're like, I want to get to know them, or I want to just ask them questions, just ask. Hey, can I buy you a cup of coffee? What's the worst that happens?
You got a good point. So, Michael, it sounds like you've been blessed with some incredible people who have
Sure.
helped you along the journey. What would you like to say to them?
uh I mean, just thanks. And I honestly starts with my parents, and they have given me so much opportunity. They Yeah, my dad was a business owner. He just retired not too long ago, a couple years ago, and just seeing him, he doesn't talk a lot. He's not a man of a lot of words, and that's fine. Just seeing him do though, and watching him gave me the courage to do that myself as well, knowing that hey, it's possible to do this. Uh, it spoke louder than words, right? And so just my parents, my mom is one of my biggest supporters, and just so thank you to them, and everyone else that has supported me along the way. It's when I first started, I kind of wanted to just put my head down and do this thing alone, and that was the dumbest thing I could have ever done. And luckily, it didn't bite me, but I quickly learned that asking for help is okay, and asking people, "Hey, how should I do this, or what should I do?" I think it was a little bit of pride in me that wanted to be like, "I can do this. I can do this. I can do this." Well, sure, I can, but ask for help, dummy. Like just ask for help. It's okay. No one's expecting me to be anything other than I am. It's fine. So, yeah.
Well, Michael, great last words. Thank you on that. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today.
Sure.
Thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. Anytime, and I look forward to grabbing coffee with you.
Appreciate that, and we'll get that on the books real quick. Thanks.
Okay, sounds good.